The world is complicated right now, and it seems that Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin are playing starring roles. While we may think that these two leaders are vastly different, they have some similarities that are too eerie to ignore. Stick around until the end to find out how Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin have similar tastes in recreational activities. Before we get rolling, take a moment to subscribe to The Richest and give this video a big thumbs up. Now here's how Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin are the same. Height. We'll start with the most obvious reason and say that both men are world leaders. However, this is more than just a statement. While they may have come from very different backgrounds, they now share similar responsibilities in running their countries. Kim Jong-un has always grown up in the world of politics thanks to his family's involvement in power, but Putin came from a different background where he was even once viewed as a troublemaker. But you're here to find out how these two men are similar. We'll start you off easy. Both Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin are 5 feet 7 inches. However, their physiques are a smidge different. While Putin wears $3,000 tracksuits to show off his slim body, Kim Jong-un seems to be enjoying the fine dining that his regime has to offer. But these men can both benefit from a thicker sole on their shoes so they can stand a little taller among their peers. Mock videos. It's no secret that Russia and North Korea have nuclear power, and they're constantly testing it on a regular basis. It's caused enough of a concern that the United Nations had to get involved. It seems that both men also have a passion for making videos of their country hitting the United States with missiles. Granted, these are only video simulations, and their missiles are not proven to do the amount of damage depicted in their videos. You could say that both Putin and Kim Jong-un are just daydreaming about the potential that they have. With tensions between North Korea and the United States increasing with each passing day, Kim Jong-un isn't nearly as subtle with his threats as Putin is. While the rest of the world is increasingly nervous over the supplies that Russia and North Korea possess, all we have to be worried about for now is the mock videos that they both released. It's rather interesting that both men enjoy these videos so much. Kim Jong-un even showed off one of these videos during a concert for his grandfather's birthday. Yeah, because that's totally the appropriate time to do it. Coming into power. Both Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un rose to power in questionable ways. Let's start with Putin. He was born in 1952 to a working-class family. He had quite the career working as a KGB spy. Without going into crazy detail, Putin took advantage of the turmoil happening in Russia, made a name for himself in politics, and became the head of the FSB. He was appointed as prime minister under President Boris Yeltsin in 1999. At the end of that year, Yeltsin stepped down and named Putin as the acting president. He was then re-elected in 2004 but lost the election in 2008 and became prime minister once more. In 2012, Putin won a 6-year term, and it was then that people started wondering about election fraud. Kim Jong-un rose to power in December 2011 after his father passed away. Even though North Korea had an election, he ran unopposed. The people were allowed to vote yes or no, and according to North Korea, Kim Jong-un won with a unanimous yes. Needless to say, both men came into their positions in questionable ways. But the people living in their countries would rather not question them. Volatile relations. One of the most complicated parts of running a country is making sure that we all get along with each other. Not only that, but also ensuring that your country is being treated fairly and is able to coexist with the rest of the world. While the President of the United States believes that Putin didn't interfere with his election, it doesn't mean that the two are bosom buddies. Their relationship has certainly deteriorated due to the situation in Syria. As the world knows, Putin and Obama didn't get along at all. Today it seems that Putin's relationship with America's current president is a bit better, but it's still not great. Now, America's relationship with Kim Jong-un is a complete disaster. From Twitter wars to various threats, North Korea and the United States are alarmingly at odds with each other. So it seems that both Putin and Kim Jong-un have volatile relationships with the United States. This similarity is rather scary to think about, especially since there's no way of knowing what these leaders will do next. Horseplay. We've been talking a lot about politics, but even the most feared world leader needs some time to relax and take part in recreational activities. This is necessary for world leaders because their jobs are so demanding. We all need that mental break. While Kim Jong-un climbed Mount Paektu without breaking a sweat, Vladimir Putin had a mountain named after him. In Kyrgyzstan, you can find Vladimir Putin Peak, which has an elevation of over 14,500 feet. But there is something more than just mountains tying these two men together. There is also the relaxing activity of horseback riding. While both men have been spotted utilizing a horse, there's a stark contrast between how they look on said horse. What do you think? While Putin might enjoy horseback riding shirtless, do you think that Kim Jong-un should do the same? Putin has also been seen on the ice playing hockey to blow off some steam. While we haven't seen pictures of Kim Jong-un participating in many sports, he did supposedly win a yacht race at the age of 9. In the meantime, Kim Jong-un is spending millions on lavish food and gifts for himself. Censorship. Censorship is a sensitive subject. With countries like the United States not focusing too heavily on censorship, one has to wonder what it's like to live someplace where information is kept hidden from you. Or worse, you live someplace where your government blatantly lies to you. North Korea is known as one of the most heavily censored countries in the world. Kim Jong-un and his people are very well aware of the media being released about their country, and they work very hard to keep it from North Korea's citizens. The country only has a few websites available to its more privileged citizens, and all the news they receive is heavily moderated. Russia has similar laws when it comes to censorship of their home country. In fact, there was once a complaint made about a children's book due to its wording about Russia. Both Putin and Kim Jong-un practice such heavy censorship in their countries that it can be hard to determine what exactly their people are receiving. Rumor also has it that the children of North Korea are taught to hate Americans, because that will definitely put us on a path to world peace. What's even more startling is that even though North Korea sent a few dozen athletes to the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics, North Korea's citizens haven't heard much about it. Perception. As humans, we are conditioned to care about what other people think. For most of us, dealing with what a handful of people think of us can be overwhelming enough. But can you imagine if you had to deal with the entire world thinking things about you? Both Putin and Kim are seen by the rest of the world as problematic world leaders. Between their nukes and how they generally treat their citizens, the United Nations has been having a lot of awkward conversations with the two world leaders. The world perceives the two leaders as running their leadership based on fear. While those who live there are the only ones who can truly speak up, there's enough evidence to suggest that there is some abuse of power taking place. Putin and Kim are two of the world's most controversial figures, and it wouldn't be shocking if the two bonded over this. It's like when the two most unpopular kids in school band together to talk about how no one understands them. Yet, given that these two men have committed acts that violate human rights, it shouldn't be shocking to them that people are questioning their leadership. Taking people out. When we say taking people out, we're talking about intentionally ending the lives of people as punishment or as a way to maintain power. When Kim Jong-un first took power, he reportedly ended the lives of several of his family members. From the strange passing of his defector half-brother to the deaths of other members in his close-knit circle, it seems that Kim has become desperate to maintain his power. He's not afraid to remove anyone who's a threat. While this act is technically illegal, there's nothing that really proves Kim's involvement in many of the cases. Putin has also been suspected of intentionally ending the lives of many people, especially reporters. It seems that he desperately wants to maintain a certain image of Russia, and he'll do whatever is needed to make sure that happens. Either way you look at it, it's awfully disturbing to see what power can do to a person. In terms of North Korea, citizens who try to escape or incite change are also put on a hit list. In Russia, people of the LGBT community are at a greater risk too. Poor economy. Both world leaders have contributed to their country's economic situation, and neither are in a great place. For North Korea, Kim Jong-un spends way too much money on himself and leaves little to nothing for the lower class. Unfortunately, this has given the supreme leader a bit of a bad reputation when it comes to world politics. Given that North Korea has an intense caste system that people can do little to change, Kim Jong-un has a lot of work to do if North Korea is ever going to get out of their economic turmoil. For Russia, Putin also has to put in some work if he wants to improve his country's situation. One of Putin's campaign promises that led to his re-election was that he was going to focus on Russia's internal problems. However, it was Putin's decisions that put Russia in the economic situation that it's in today. Even though he was re-elected, Putin has a lot of work to do to gain the trust of his citizens once more. Propaganda photos. Being a public figure means that you have to look busy at all times to make the world like you. When you're in a position of political power, that means visiting various places around your country and looking like you care about what's happening. It seems that both Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin both enjoy a good photo op when it comes to these kinds of situations. The two world leaders are often seen taking photos for propaganda purposes in order to make them look good. When you look at these photos, you can almost sense that both men are trying to make themselves look more personable and empathetic. But we all know that these photos are superficial and that both men would really prefer to be someplace else. All you have to do is look at Putin's shirtless publicity photos and wonder exactly why someone would think that that's appropriate for a political figure. Kim also likes to take pictures that show that North Korea is doing better economically than it actually is. Most of the photos you'll see coming from either world leader have been staged and are meant to boost their ratings. That's all for how Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin are the same. Do you think that there are any more similarities between these two leaders? Sound off in the comments below. Thanks for watching, let's be kind to one another, and we'll see you next time.